Welcome back, everyone. Today we are going to analyze my training of August. I a little bit become obsessed about something, and so I train, I think 15 days, yes, 15 days out of 31 of August. So, yes, I train a lot. I was stuck trying to figure out some stuff, and I didn't want to give it up. And the more I was moving forward in the month, the more I was getting closer and closer and closer. And so the more I just didn't want to give up at all. So yes, this is what we are going to see what happened. And so 15 sessions, remember every single one of them, that's going to be a challenge, but we are going to try to do it. And let's see how it plays out. So let's move on to the chart, to the yes chart. So yeah, anyway, yeah, August trend, yeah, that was the end of my holidays, and so I trained in one golf, in the same golf as last month, which was the Golf of Le Mans, and so on. Then I went into other place, and then I come back here. So different golf where I've played. So first session, no hip rotation, just shifting my weight to the left while extending both legs. So let me try to remember. Just I want to make sure everything is all right. Yes, it seems. So no hip rotation, just shifting my weight. Yes. Yeah. Also, so what I think here is happened. It was primarily a question of yeah, maybe the fact that I'm not rotating enough through and so on. This is more a consequence. I need probably more to shift my weight, way more than what I'm used to do, in order to be able to then rotate through impact. And so I think that was what I was thinking, more having a rotation that happened as a consequence of me shifting my weight and then extending both legs, and then the momentum of the club and so on forcing me into a position where I need to rotate. So I think that was what I wanted to try. So let's move on to see a little bit. So yes. Yes, that's not that bad, but with the iron, things are looking good generally. And also, you see, I'm crossing a bit over the top, the line at the top of the backswing, but that's because I was still working on trying to figure out my backswing, and because as you are going, let's move on because we have 15 sessions to go through, so let's go a bit faster. So as you see, with my driver, my backswing doesn't look that good actually. It's flat out a lot, and that's why when I do exactly the same thing that I'm doing with my driver with my shorter iron, I'm crossing the line. So there is something wrong there, and what I figure out this month is primarily I think about me being able to set the club as soon as possible in the backswing, very soon. So then I can. It's way more easier to set the club on plane with every club, and it doesn't really depend much on the momentum that I'm getting, or the fact that the club is more flat because it's longer, or more upright because it's shorter. So this is something that I thought about. So yeah, let's so yeah, overall things are looking good, but there are subtle things that I don't like. Like you see here, my left leg doesn't, it extends less than my right, which is, it should be the opposite. My left leg should extend first and then my right. And so there is probably an issue in the dynamic of my swing, on the way I'm doing it, that I'm not sure yet what it is. And I think this is also why I have this consequence of having my club moving left like this. So yeah. Nice. Oh. So. Good luck position. Yeah. I mean, that's difficult for me to remember exactly what I was doing. So things overall look good. I was still struggling with this idea of margin of safety, where actually, even though I was things that I was doing were great, that wasn't really, I wasn't really comfortable with it, because this is that the swing is a complex system where everything fits together, and if you want to get comfortable with your swing, every pieces should work together in order to hit the ball. And if there are just one or two things that are working from one against another, you will be forced to compensate in order to hit the ball, and so you will not feel very comfortable. And so that's why I keep focusing on improving, is because as long as I don't get this feeling of being comfortable with what I'm doing, it means I don't use the same I mean, all the components I have in my swing are not working in sync and create synergy. And this is really what it's all about, creating synergy within your swing. Let's move on. Weight shift by flexing my right knee, which also initiate the hip rotation. So yeah, what I was thinking is maybe the fact that my left leg is not extending is because I'm pushing too hard with my right leg, and so that push me. Oh, what is that? No, don't want that. Sorry for that. And so that pushed me maybe a bit behind and so on, and that prevent my leg from actually extending. Yes, because what I was doing, maybe I was pushing too much with my right leg, which pushed my body forward and forced my hips to turn back but down also, and so which resulted me in an almost impossible way to extend my left leg while I'm rotating. Because every time I'm trying to rotate, which was something interesting also during this math, I realized that every time I rotate my hips, when I try to do it very aggressively and so on, I have my left leg that is bent, and I'm not able to rotate my hips while extending my my left leg. And so it means the dynamic in my swing force me to keep if I want to be able to rotate, I have to keep my left leg bent. This is the dynamic that is involved here. And so that's what I wanted to try here, by really having the right leg that completely collapse, flex, which initiates the rotation of the hip, and then trying to also this bring also something I thought is the fact that maybe my right leg was just too extended. It wasn't bringing really my right hip forward, and so the only way my left hip could rotate was to getting backward a lot, which keep my left leg bent. And so that's what I want. So here we see the right leg bend, which make me in the perfect squat position. Then, because the right leg is not pushing, I can extend, and we see that it's a little bit better. My right leg actually started extending before the left leg. Actually the left leg doesn't extend at all, but that's much smoother lower body work, at least during the downswing. So let's move on. what's it look like with a driver. Still a shitty backswing. Fuck it. Anyway, so let's say the right leg bend, and you see with the driver, it's really that maybe this is also the backswing. The fact that the backswing is not yet fixed. That then when it come back to impact, and that maybe that also because a flat backswing at the top is going you're going to have the club that is going to be to come a little bit over the top, not necessarily over the top, but less from the inside. And so in order to be able to bring back the club, I need to clear my left hip back and keep my left leg bent in order to leave the club to let the club pass. Sorry for my explanation, that is completely bad English. I'm just a bit tired. Anyway, sorry. Allez, let's move on. So yeah, even though it's a little bit better, that wasn't that yet. So let's move on. Up, ole. And the right. And you see here, even though I'm bending my right leg and I'm trying to transfer, at this point, my left hip should be way more on top of my left feet. And so that's I don't know if it's a consequence or if this is the cause of me having my right leg bent, but what is sure is if I'm start rotating my hips at this point, the only way I can do that is by keeping my left leg flex. If I want to have my left leg extended, I need to have my hip on top of my ankle. Yes, I think this is it. So yeah, a little bit, a lack of weight shift, a little bit. Other than that, that look correct. I mean, unless the backswing, the backswing is look awful, but anyway. Let's move on. Repeating my system to get more. Come back. Repeating my system to get more comfortable and finding pattern in my trajectory in order to improve my shot accuracy. So yeah, because I started making almost one training session every day, and I was hitting maybe more than 100 balls per session, and so as I was working on some stuff, so I keep doing at it what I was seeking just what we see just before, but I start seeing that I had some pattern. I start missing more often right, a little bit right, and so I start thinking, okay, maybe I should just do that, stop focusing on trying to hit straight, hit a little push, and so on. I think that's what went on during this session. I just tried to focus to keep doing the same thing, get more comfortable with what I was doing, but really trying to accept the pattern that I had, and maybe make some push. I think I did that during this session. And so what I was looking for is where I was aligned. I was looking at somewhere around 10 meters, but that's not necessarily that. What I has in mind was having a push that is about 10% of the distance I'm trying to hit. So if it's about 5% of the distance I'm trying to hit. So if it's 100 meters, my push should be about 5 meters. If it's 200, it's about 10 meters, and for a drive, if not 300, but something like that, it's going to be 15 meters. And so yes, so and I think that's a good way for you when you are starting working on some trajectory and so on, where you get comfortable. Think more about the percentage of the distance you are trying to hit. Because if you are just saying, okay, I want a push that is about 10 meters or 10 yards, or a fade or a draw from where I'm aligned, that's an issue, because first of all, the longer the club, the more effect you are going to give to the ball, and also the more time the ball has to deviate from the initial trajectory. And so when you have percentage, of course, the bigger the distance, the more you are going to go from one side to another. And with very short club like wedges and so on, it's very easy to make trajectories that are almost straight, but with a slight margin. So this is your percentage, and then as you go on to your driver, you can have a bigger margin of compared to where you are. And that's why thinking about in terms of percentage it's better, because this is a linear way to go about it. When you are picking your target, you're aligning where you want to start, and the further you go, the further the distance between where you align and where you go. And that's normal. That's two straight lines that are in two different directions. So that's normal. And so this is the percentage of the distance. You can say it's about the angle between where you are aligned and where you are you want the ball to finish in a straight line. Anyway, I hope that makes sense. And I think also I started try some stuff, because you see here with my iron, the backswing is pretty good, which I think I started, and we will see in the next session, I started testing to have different approach in terms of backswing depending on the club I had. So yeah, with the woods, things start moving. Looking not that great. My backswing is flat. I'm going over the top, and bang, my club is going left. So I think those things are pretty correlated, and that's why you're going to see on the next session. Oh, let's move on quicker, because I don't have anything to say about it. And that's why during this fourth station, I was more focused on my backswing, because I thought, yeah, I tried almost everything to improve the downswing, but still I don't get the result I want. So maybe I need to fix first my backswing in order to then be able to do what I want during my downswing. And so trying to fix my backswing by testing different plan depending on the club, or testing only one fix all. So yeah, the first thing I tried during this session was to, with the very short club, the wedges or even 9 iron and so on, I tried to just, once I'm doing my my takeaway, once I'm doing my takeaway, just let the club naturally put on plane. Don't try to resist it to make it vertical and so on. And then with the intermediate club, I was trying to have the club vertical and so resist a little bit. So here, as you can see, my club was perfectly on plane with the oh, that was a socket, a chunk, I think. So yes, it was looking good. And so with then with the middle iron, so resist a little bit more, so I can have the club that is a little bit more vertical to compensate the fact that the club started to get longer, and so my backswing can a little bit flat out. But as you can see, even with mid iron, I could even just let my club go flat into the plane, and probably this is only with long iron or wood that the problem start to arise. And so yes, and then with the driver, the idea was more on let's move on directly to the wood. Let's see a long iron. So yes, even with the long iron, still no, that was still mid. Yes, anyway, that's still, so my point was is still relevant. So it started to make less sense with the wood. And so starting from here with the wood, my goal was way more to really, instead of having it vertical, forcing it into a more incline. The sensation was from the vertical, actually finishing my backswing, trying to rotate my club more vertically, actually on the opposite, more than vertically, to resist the momentum of the club going back. And so if we take a look, and I'm pretty happy with the result, actually. Now that I'm looking back to it, it was looking nice, but it was really forcing me to adapt to different clubs with and having different strategy on the way I was doing it. Yeah, pretty cool. And then what I was thinking is maybe I should just try what I do with the wood with every club, and so I tried it. No, that just to have some record on the camera. But now that after looking at it, it doesn't look that good. So with the driver, looks good. Looks good. My face, even though we can't see it pretty well, is still wide open, and so the downswing doesn't look that good still. But yes, anyway. Also, there is something very subtle, as you can see here. At this point, my head is rising and then descending. So what it means is I'm getting, the club is just pulling me out of my posture, and then I'm coming back into squat and squat down. And so I'm not sure that's very consistent move. I would rather keep my posture all the way and start my downswing, rather than just having up this little up move. You can see here, little up and then down, which is not that good. Anyway, let's move on. So yeah, of course, I didn't say, but I was I've moved to a new golf where I was training. Well, actually, I did a golf course, so I don't know if I will post the golf course after this video or before, so maybe you already watched it. Anyway, backswing with backswing with difficult to say. Downswing by throwing the club down and release and follow through by rotating. Oh yes, I think this is this session. Let's see. Yeah, first of all, I started with 3 iron. This is something I would like to try a little bit more in the future, because this is Tom Watson that I think was doing that he liked it to warm up with his 3 iron. So because he knew that if everything went well with his 3 iron, everything else was going to be easy. And so I like it. It's just I don't do it very often. I think this is something I would like to do more often. Yes. So anyway, so the session. So if I remember correctly, I think yeah, I think that's this session, because I had one session, and I think this is this one, where I felt so much No, this is not this one actually. This is the one just after that. But still, here the idea was really to just shift my weight, let the club come down, and rotate through during the release to let the club release tranquilly. And so I did a lot of wedging, way more than I'm used to, which is a good thing. You need to do wedging. Wedging is where you make your birdies, and this is how you score. But this is not what is going to help me see what I want to see. What I was doing. I start trying weird thing. Yeah, because I think maybe I was starting to actually miss right, and so I was trying with a stronger grip. If maybe it was something. Yeah, during this time, that was the end of my holidays. I was really tired. I started trying some very weird stuff, and I don't mean that I don't like that, but this is something I'm trying to avoid, because in the past I did a lot of that, where session where I went all over the place, not trying to stick to my system that I was still that I have, and so on, and this cost me a lot of time in energy, where actually I didn't really move forward. I was just trying and stuff, and not going really anywhere. So what I tried to do during this year actually is just to focus on really on one system, trying to repeat this system as often as I can, and just improve a little thing here and there in order to get more and more comfortable. And so doing that, starting trying some stuff. Yeah, let's forget about this session, okay? Shall we? Let's move on. Let's look at how it looks. Yeah, and I think I was trying to do the same thing with my and that's also something I was doing the same. I was trying to do the same thing as the last session, but what was interesting is my club starting to flat out. So I realized maybe the way I do the transition by shifting my weight and throwing my club back in front, this is the issue. This is the backswing. The fact that the backswing is connected to the downswing through the transition. And so if in my transition I'm bringing the club more in front of me in a flatter plane, maybe this will have an effect on the way I finish my backswing. So I start thinking about that, and this is what I tried, I think, in a few other sessions. As you can see, the gain I win during the last session completely went away. But that's still interesting. I mean, that's still interesting, because every time I do something that I don't get the result I want, I learn from it, and I think that's the most important thing. So yes, shoulder base, right arm extension, transition down coach plus weight shift, and DRT. What is DRT? A down swing release follow through. I don't know. I don't know what I chose. But yeah, I was trying to focus on having one trajectory that I was comfortable with. I tried a draw because this is the trajectory I want to have, even though I know in the back of my mind that my swing is more fitted to do a fade. But when I try to do a fade, I tend to do slice. So yes. I really don't know what to say about this session, so let's move on. I don't remember particularly anything. Also, I started because yeah, here I remember I did what I told you is I tried to have a transition that is way more vertical, to have the club more vertical at the end of my backswing, and then rotating through and so on. And the fun thing that when you are doing that, this is really easy to do some stinger. And so I was having fun doing some stinger with my 3 or 4 iron, I don't remember, and also with my wood. And actually that was a shot that I was very comfortable with, and so on the golf course I tried to do some like this, and that was a very good way to put the ball on the fairway from the tee, and so I think I will keep working at it in order to be more comfortable with it and being able to pull it off whenever I want on the golf course, because it feels very comfortable. And when the goal is not to put the ball very long on the fairway but just to pull it on the fairway, I think that's a good way to go about it. But as you can see, my assumption was wrong, because my club was still pointing left and up. As you can, stinger, boing. You see here, my upper body is getting a little bit up like this, and so this means the momentum of the club is tracking me out of my posture. And so this is something I don't know if I did it at the next session, but before the end of this moment where I was in this golf, I start looking into right after the takeaway, just transitioning down. A lot of wedges, a lot of them. Focus the first move of the swing, set the club with my wrist. And so yes, this is the session I was talking about, where I was just feeling insanely comfortable with my swing, and this is the first for me. But I didn't like why I was feeling comfortable there, so I didn't stay at it. So what I was doing is just setting my club extremely early. Actually, this was my only focus. I don't move my body, I just set my wrist, and I was sitting not really by rotating, but just by hinging. So that's why you can see the club face is really close, and a little bit close also at the top, but that's still fine, that's not that big of a deal. And so by doing that, my club was going on plane, then I was tracking, I was pulling it down, and with the club face that was a little bit shut because of my range, of my wrist hinge. And so then when I was rotating through impact, I mean, I don't know, that was it just was feeling really, really great. And I think I was still focusing on making some draws, but but that wasn't really great. You see, very close face and so on. I was still focusing on keeping my club vertical. So you see, with a short iron, it wasn't looking that bad, but as soon as I was going with longer iron, even though it was feeling great, it doesn't look that good. It's more this kind of swing. It's more like what Brooks Koepka is doing. Yeah. Maybe I'm fooling myself, but this is the feeling. It's either a Dustin Johnson or more Brooks Koepka in terms of feeling in how I swing than it is any other. Where you just you hinge your wrist, then you shift and bring down and just rotate through. This is pretty simple swing, and also this is a swing that is very vertical in the ball, but unfortunately it put, I don't know, it put pressure on the left leg. I don't know, but yeah. But still, my backswing was long and so on, and what you will see is so with a long iron and with a driver and woods, doesn't look that good. Because I was just hinging my wrist and so on, I can have a very, very long backswing doing that, because I wasn't really rotating my shoulder. Also, this is that, because in the backswing, okay, you need to set your wrist, but you also need to rotate your shoulder to avoid having your arm that come across your body, and so this is what creates a very, very long backswing actually. That's something I understood later during this month is the weight shifts that you're doing also prevent you from having your arm go too much across on the way down. I mean, the weight shift left for a right-handed. I hope that makes sense. I don't know what I'm saying today. It's really. I think those analyses are pretty boring. But at least it's for me, it's a way to think back on what I did and to make my idea clear and to move on. So even though I know that most people are not going to watch this, for me it's still something that I feel it's important to do. If I want to improve, I need to think back on what I did and know what I can do better. And one thing. And also, this is that during this month I started not able to articulate today. I tested a lot of stuff, but I was feeling that I was moving forward in the direction I wanted, slowly but surely, every time learning a new thing. So I didn't want to give up. That's the issue I have a lot. Is even though I know I need to stick to what I do in order to get more comfortable and unleash my potential to score better. Each time I'm doing one session, I'm still learning something new. I'm still discovering what I do right, what I do wrong, and so on, in order to reach the idea, not of the perfect swing, but at least the swing I want to have. And so that's very difficult for me to just deny what I'm learning and not work on it. It doesn't make sense. If I know I need to work on something, why shouldn't I do it? I mean, the answer is obvious. If I want to score, I need to stop focusing on that, but it's difficult for me to do so. I want to reach my full potential. So yeah, as you can see, well, oh sorry. I'm going completely over the top, so that's why I didn't like it, because with my driver it was completely bullshit. Even though with my iron I was just feeling completely insanely great. Okay, I think that's the last session on this golf. Creating torque in the rotation and release like a spring. I don't know if is that actually the word in English, spring. Maybe is that. So yes, in the dancing, as you saw just before, just before, no, well, let's say that in my dance swing with my driver, I was going a little bit over the top. So I thought maybe, okay, I do exactly the same thing, but now I'm just trying to rotate more my hip and keep my upper body back as much as I possibly can to create some torque, some stretch, and then at the last moment, at impact, the stretch release like a spring of the torque. So I think that's what I had in mind. But what I'm saying is true. I think this is something that you need to do in the golf swing. That's something that's always a question of, is it the cause or is it the consequence? And I think that's more a consequence. This is why I don't really stick to it after trying during this session, because I think there was other things that actually I was doing wrong, and this was preventing me, because I was able sometimes to do it right, but other times I wasn't. And so this means, as I said earlier, if all the things that you are doing on your swing are not aligned and create synergy between them, you will have to compensate and struggle and so on. And every time you are not compensating well, you will miss your shot and things will get out of control. And so if I was doing that, but I was struggling, it means it wasn't the cause of what I was doing, but and there was other things that I need to work on. And so that's so good. Boom. No, sorry, I'm just so freaking tired. Yeah, I mean, of course, I spent a month training like a crazy man. So I need to rest a little bit. But I'm getting closer. I think the month of September is going to be great. You will see tremendous result, amazing result. I hope. A little bit of torque, boom. Let's kill the ball. So here you can see, even though I was trying to create the torque, my upper body start moving on. And I found at the end of this month, I found the answer to that. We are going to come back on it, but it's about the weight shift and the fact that I'm using I need to, all this idea of bringing the club down should be a consequence of the good motion of the lower body and not a good motion of the upper and lower body. And I remember the quote of Einstein, which is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results is a sure way to it's the way you define insanity. That's not exactly the quote, but that was the meaning of it. And so I always ask myself, if I don't get the result I want, what am I doing the same thing over and over that I'm not aware of? Because this is that you can think that you are doing things differently, but actually you are doing the same thing without even noticing it. And that's really difficult. And something I realized during this month is really is the thing that I'm doing consistently, and that's a consistent mistake, is the fact that I'm using, during my downswing, I'm using my upper body way too much. Even though, because I liked it, I mean, for a very long time, this is how I like to swing, just throwing my arm to the ball and extending with my leg and so on. And so this is how I like it to swing, but the way I want to make my swing evolve, I think require a lot less amount of effort on the upper body during the downswing and more effort on my lower body. And so I need to just do the right thing on the way back with my upper body, then try to find out the right movement with my lower body in order to hit the ball the way I want. And so this is primarily about getting more weight shift and to have enough weight shift that actually my arms are coming down and then rotating. But we are going to talk a little bit further after this session. Let's move on. Boing. Hey, I'm back home. So, right shift, slight wrist rotation, transition and release as the only component of the swing. So yeah, here the idea was simple. I'm just doing a slight shift to the right with my lower body and a slight rotation of my wrist to initiate the swing. But as soon as the swing is initiated, I'm transitioning, and then this is just about releasing by rotating. And so in order to avoid what I was saying earlier, which is this upward motion of my head at the end of my backswing, so to be able to stay a little bit more grounded to the floor and avoid the momentum of the club dragging me out of my posture. And so that was the idea. I'm just initiate because I'm really flexible. And so for me, if I just move my arm, my backswing can go very long. And so here you can see, I did actually add the result I was expecting. You can see that my head is staying pretty steady or even dropping a little bit, which is what I want. The backswing looked pretty awesome. And directly I'm moving down without having this up motion. But still the downswing doesn't look that good, so there's still some way to improve, but that was a good insight. For a lot of sessions I do something, I don't have the result I expect. This time I got the result I expected. So that was something interesting. Actually, I need to keep that in mind. You know what? I'm going to take notes of the thing I need to keep in mind. Yeah, that's going to be a good idea. So, we said earlier, warming up with a 3-iron might be a good idea. 3-iron warm up. And then, so we have this thing is, stay in posture by transitioning as soon as possible, actually. Okay, I have a paper now. So here, you see, even though my head doesn't move that much, I'm still struggling with the momentum with the driver. It's pulled me really hard, and so even though I resist everything I can, that's really difficult for me to stay in posture, even though. So there is a big issue with the way I'm doing my backswing. I like to have a lot of momentum and energy in my backswing, but I'm not able to set my club very early enough in order to keep this momentum under control. because having momentum in the backswing, that's fine, but I need to be able to bring it down and then use this energy during the downswing. Currently, what happened is I have a tremendous energy during my backswing. Then I'm completely collapsed at the top of my backswing. There I need to accelerate in my downswing, so I'm losing a ton of energy. Let's move on. So I was trying to rotate, but as you can see, when I'm rotating, when I'm trying to rotate, I completely rotate on top, and so this is also, I think, an issue of weight shift. Oh, looks good, this one. Anyway, let's move on. Keep at it. Sorry, I'm struggling to read today. Keep at it, trying to do it better. I should add a comma somewhere. It's going to be easier to read. So yeah, I was happy, but I thought, okay, maybe I need to keep working at it. So transition, rotation, release, and so on. I think we are at the 10th session. Well, how long have we been going on? 50 minutes? Oh shit, sorry for that. If you have bear with me until now, congrats. You have earned my eternal gratitude. Sticking through all my nonsense of thinking, wow, you are amazing. Boom. Doesn't look that bad, it just, yeah, I'm rotating really over the top, so maybe that's the only way I can hit the ball, but yeah. And you see here, I start losing a little bit my focus out of this idea of transitioning very fast, and so I start, you can see here, up, moving a little bit out of my posture again. Let's move on to the interesting stuff. Not the driver, because the driver is still, I mean the next session, because the next session starts becoming more interesting. Let's start. Oh, this one I transition. But yeah, my club is going way too far, and so anyway. Especially because I know the answer, so I want to move on to it. Up. Fucking nonsense, trying a bunch of stuff and nothing worked. And so this session was very interesting because after a bunch of years training and so on, I start recognizing those patterns. And this pattern is, as I said earlier, you need to have every component aligned in your swing system in order to be able to just to feel comfortable and so on. And the more you evolve toward a new way of doing things, the more it's become tougher and tougher, and to the point where you are right on the edge of something new, and you just don't know where you live. You have no idea how to hit the ball. You have no idea how to do anything. You are just, that's a fucking nonsense. You don't understand what you are doing, and so your brain is at this point going to work very hard to find a solution to with what you're trying to do, how can I hit the ball efficiently? And this is exactly what happened. And so I keep at it, and so the further I went into this session, the worse and worse it's going to be, the worst I was feeling. I wasn't able to control anything in my ball flight. That was just awful. And the further I went into this session, and until the end, where I didn't want to give up because I knew I was transitioning to a new state, a new way of swinging, and that was closer to where I want to the way I want to swing. And so I didn't give up. I keep at it. I hit I think four buckets of ball, or maybe a little bit more, in order to make sure I get this through, and I find a solution. So because I was trying to, so this idea of transitioning, so very quick and so on, having more lag, but then I was stuck, because as more I was doing it well, the more it was difficult for me to hit the ball, given my old way of releasing the club. And so I needed to find a new way of releasing the club. So here you can see my backswing were looking greater. Also, this is I starting having a better backswing. I starting, I think, slowing down. Yes, you can see I went. Let's look at this ball. How right it's gone. Shoo, bye bye. But yeah, I was trying to slow down, having my backswing way more vertical, way more my arm way more in front, and then having this transition that allowed me to bring my arm more in front. But then I was stuck. How can I hit the ball in this position? I don't know. And so for a while I think I oscillated between my old way and my new way, or this one. Also, you can see I wasn't, because I was transitioning, I wasn't able to hit any ball. I didn't understand what I was doing, how I was doing it. That was just insane. This one straight to the right. Looks very, very strange swing. Let's move on. Oh, you can see I'm not able to hit the ball. The reason why I was trying really to set my club early, to shift where, that's why, as I said, I was exaggerating what I was trying to do, but by exaggerating, it was putting me in a position that was so uncomfortable to hit the ball that it was almost impossible for me to do that, because I had a ton of lag, ton of weight shift. But because this is not what I was doing before, I have no clue how to hit the ball. And slowly but surely I find the answer. But let's move on. I don't think I find it right there. So you can see I'm consistent with what I was saying. I was thinking that the issue was weight shift, the fact that I don't set the club early enough. That now this is what I was doing, shifting my club and so on. I don't know how long. Yes, and then I start slowing down even further and further into what I was doing. So the backswing, what I was, I think, let's look at it. Yes, here I went really, really slowly, really trying to feel this this is a sensation that I'm doing when I'm doing practice swing, where I feel that actually I'm setting the club by pulling my right shoulder back and my left shoulder forward. And actually, this is what you see when I'm doing that. The left hand go forward and the back hand go backward. And so just by this motion, this is what sets the club. And without, you don't try to, I don't try to do it with my wrist, with my forearm. This is just a natural motion of the overall body that allow me to set the club. And so until now I wasn't able to do it, but now here I was trying to focus on slow, because I wasn't able to actually hit any ball. I mean, at least maybe I can do something right, my backswing right, you know. So I was doing slowly but surely and rotating my shoulder, setting the club, and you see it's pretty downward set, and also it go less further than before. And because now it was set, completely set, then it became easier for me to do the downswing. Maybe not on this one, because I think that was the first try. But this is what unlocked me to find new solution, because now the backswing was exactly what I wanted it to be. So now I can work on the downswing. Even though this is not what happened, but I got lucky. I chose to do a right backswing, and so doing a right backswing allowed me to think things through with my downswing in order to find solution. And that start looking better and better. And so what I was doing is, because now my backswing was really set, I can shift my weight, increase the lag, and rotate the wrist as I'm rotating. And so this is what I was doing, and at the end I finally was able to actually hit some balls correctly. And so here you can see when I'm doing it looks good. I'm still turning a bit too much left, but anyway. So yeah, you can see this is what I'm saying here in my practice run, my practice swing. At this point, I'm just trying with my shoulder to set the club. Boom. So I'm exaggerating it, of course, because I don't have the momentum of the club that is pulling me in the right position, but this is what you want when you are doing practice swing, is exaggerate. So when things are moving with the force of the club, things are looking good. So let's look at how it looks in real time. This one doesn't look really great, actually. Maybe I did one a little bit better. No, but you'll see in the future I did some a little bit better. So full swing, focus on transitioning into the new world. Yeah, of course, this is what I said. I understand a lot of stuff. Okay, so I need really to use my shoulder to relaxly, tranquilly, just doing my backswing, setting the club with my shoulder, and then shifting my weight and rotating as I'm rotating my wrist. But this is also the thing, I already knew it, that you should rotate the club face with your wrist, but it was difficult. And so here, with the club very well set, you increase the lag, and as you increase your lag, you rotate. And so you don't release the lag, and as you rotate the club face, you do it both. You increase and rotate with the wrist during the downswing. So that was also what I knew I was lacking it, because you won't be able to see it, but so because the main point I think I'm lacking is this. You see my club face right here, it's wide open, and I think this is this idea. If I'm not able to rotate my wrist, I don't want to do it very consciously. I want to find out how to do it in the same way I'm doing for setting my wrist in the backswing. I want to find out how I can rotate my wrist back so my club face gets shut here on the way through without really intentionally doing it. but currently I didn't have the answer, and also that was enough transition for just one session, and I needed to just move on. So yes, moving on. Are you seeing anything when I'm doing those things? Yes, maybe not. I don't know. And also, yeah, I started. Anyway, I would just say after. You can see here I'm able to really set the club. My club is fully set, and my right arm is almost dead straight, so that's good. And you can see that my club is way more on plane without really any effort, so that's also a good thing. But still, I'm going a little bit further, but this you will see I found the solution after. But things start looking good in terms of backswing. I need to move on more to this direction, so really backswing. BS. Bullshit, yes. Set the club with shoulders. Because this is what allows me to get a great backswing. You can see here still the face is still open, and so this is the issue I have, and that I need to find solution to if I want. Because what happened after I transition to this new world is I start pushing the ball. It was just a pain in the ass to just having the ball that goes straight or even a draw. All my balls were going right and so on, and so I was really struggling with that, trying to rotate through and so on. So this was my primary focus on the full motion first, and you will see in the next session. So with my no, that's not good. That's maybe a little bit better. Yes, that's a little bit better. See, not as good as I wish. The issue here, as you see, is I'm focusing on too much things at the same time. So what I did work, which was enable me to avoid getting out of my posture. Now I completely forgot about it, and so still get out of my posture anyway. And so yeah, because on the down the line now I've seen everything I wanted to say. Now the thing I want that I need to look at were more face on, and so I started with the last session and this one and the session after. I started doing way more face on video in order to have a better feedback on what I was doing, because my backswing was looking great. You can see here, actually, until here, I thought I was doing a practice swing. Actually, no. And so here I'm perfectly here, but because I have old patterns that I need to remove in order to be able to swing the right new way. But you see the lag is better and so on, but as long as I'm not able to shut this club face, I will struggle. Not that good, but yeah, that's better. That's better. You can see here I have more lag. I'm turning. Still, my left leg is not very straight, but that's look better now. It's really subtle thing, you know. But that's the things that will make all the difference in order between having a good swing and having a great swing. And so I'm pretty confident of the overall dynamic of the swing. But now I need to find the very last little detail that will make all the difference. And so yeah, so that was, you shift weight, you increase light, you start rotating both the lower body and the face up, bam. But still, you see, I'm not rotating enough. That's better, that's better. I mean, the issue is when I'm here, my my shaft should be easily parallel to the ground. It's a little bit lower than parallel to the ground. I know I'm very, very perfectionist, but I mean, that's the fun part, being perfectionist. And at impact, I should have my hip more on top of my ankle and also my hand more in front of my left thigh. But that's a swing that actually look pretty good. So yes, the swing generally looks good. But as I said, that doesn't show the trajectory, and I was really struggling. I was hitting all my balls almost to the right, and so and I'm not feeling very comfortable. So I still have a lot. The way I'm modelizing my downswing is wrong. I need to find a new way to fit in to the new dynamic I'm trying to install in my swing, in order to feel comfortable. And so here you can see that's good, but my arm are a little bit too much trapped behind and so on. But if I'm not doing that, I'm not able to rotate. But that look better. That look this one here. That's overall. That's look way better. As you can see, my hips are stopping way too early. Even though McElroy is doing a little bit the same thing, I mean, I'm stopping my hips way too early, far more early than he is doing. And so, anyway. And so, I started having some great shot actually. So some good shot and so on. So the transition starting to go well. So what was this session about? Probably going increasing line by relax. And so as I was transitioning to this new dynamic, this new way of doing things, I started becoming more and more relaxed, because I was doing the line, rotating my wrist, and so I'm creating tremendous compression as I'm rotating through impact. And so I was feeling more and more relaxed actually. And I think that's a good sign that things start to line up, that every component starts to create synergy. Because if every component doesn't create synergy, you need to have some tension in your body to compensate. And if everything is creating synergy, you can swing pretty relaxedly, because everything is working for you instead of against you. And that may be the feeling I'm starting to have, even though I'm still having some. The overall swing looks good. And as I said, I'm really what I'm getting here is really specific and hyper subtle. So, but overall, I'm starting to feel really comfortable, and not necessarily comfortable, but relaxed. So that's a good thing. That's the first time ever, actually, for me. So way more compression with my shorter iron also. But even though with my my swing and so on, I was feeling more relaxed and so on. In terms of trajectory and control that I had over the ball fly, that wasn't that good actually. So that's why I keep working at it, because even though, okay, I feel more relaxed and so on, I'm able to swing more comfortably and so on, I don't get the ball flights that I want. I still push the ball a lot. Yeah. So still work to get done. Let's wrap things up. I think we're over 1 hour and 15 minutes. Anyway, yeah, I mean 15 sessions to go through. That's a lot. That's a lot. Oh, you can see this awesome backswing, and I'm pretty happy. The backswing start to look good. Boom. The downswing start to look awful, because yeah, I was trying to shift my weight and bring my arm down more and more as I'm rotating my wrist and so on. And so I thought that was the answer. I thought that was that was going to. Let's see if I have a wood just before. No. I thought that was that were going to be able to enable me to rotate more my hips and so on, but I'm wrong. I need to face the truth. I'm wrong. And the more I'm using my upper bodies, the more I'm getting what I don't want to get. And so let's move on to the session that actually got. So backswing pretty well. I'm shifting a little bit, but not that much. And also you can see I'm shifting, but my upper body is moving, which get my arm trapped behind. So force me to really stop. Actually, this is that. I'm shifting my weight, but my upper body starts moving because I'm pulling with my arm. But because I'm doing that, my lower body needs to stop in order to leave my arm, leave the time for my arm to come in front. And so I'm stopping my rotation to catch up. I think that's probably what is going on. So you can see here, so the backswing is great. Then the upper body start moving as I'm rotating my lower body, which trap my my arm behind. Then I'm stopping in order to be able to catch up with my arm, and so I'm arriving at impact with the hips that are just barely open. And you can see at my rhythm, I'm just not comfortable yet. I have the dynamic, but that's so weird to me that I don't know actually how to do it pretty well. Let's look at this one in slow motion. So yeah, the backswing starts looking really good. The issue I had of not setting the club is kind of fixed. But then I'm just trialing. I'm just wait, yes. And I think the issue come, and you can see here I'm so stuck that I'm forced to stop in order to have my arm to catch. So that's not what I want. What I want is rotate through as hard as I possibly can and still having a good looking golf swing. So I shift, I bring my arm down in front, and so I'm forced to stop. Anyway, let's move on. Hop la zoom. Facing the target at impact, full rotation. So yeah, I thought, okay, maybe I just need, and I was wrong. Let's be clear. But okay, the transition good. I'm bringing my arm back in front, but then I need to rotate through to keep moving forward and so on in order to do what I want. But no, the issue is already at the transition. I'm using my upper body way too much. I need to keep it quiet and use the weight shift to use gravity actually to bring my arm back down, and not my upper body. My upper body should stay quiet. I'm shifting my weight and let gravity bring my arm down, and then I can rotate aggressively. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. Up we rotate through and bang. Also, there is something that's, I mean, in terms of subtle things, that's really, I think you won't even notice it. So my left hip, I'm losing a little bit my angle, and for some reason it's more clear face on than it is down the line. I think that's so weird to me. Yeah, we can see here I don't have any angle anymore. That's so weird. I look extremely flat, where I actually am not. That's also something that bothers me. I don't know why. Maybe I just relax my abs too much during my backswing. I need to contract a little bit more my abs. I mean, I'm 10% of body fat, so I'm not sure I can go lower than that. Is not really healthy to do. Maybe it's just my body composition. You can see how it look awful. When I'm trying to rotate hard, you can see I'm starting rotating without really shifting my weight. So of course, maybe I'm maintaining a little bit more the lie, but I'm completely coming over the top, and so that's absolutely not good. And also I started hitting my woods pretty hard, actually. I was pretty happy. The one club actually I started to hit pretty well was my 5 wood. On the practice run, way further than what I'm used to. Rotating, boing. Anyway, let's move on. So yeah, it allowed me to maintain the lag and so on. So that's not a bad idea. I mean, this idea of rotating through and until I'm at impact and I'm facing the target with my chest at impact, that's not a bad idea. It's just that I'm doing other things before that are just not allowing me to do it well. And primarily it's about me. I'm not shifting my weight enough to the left. And so when I'm start rotating, I'm rotating more behind, and so that forces the club to come over the top and so on. So I need to really resist a lot more with my lower body, shifting my weight a lot more in order to have my arms that naturally drop, and then I can rotate aggressively and facing the target and so on. But currently it's not possible. But you can see, even though I'm doing everything wrong during the transition, rotating to face the target allows me to get into somewhat a great position. But I think I still have a lot to improve. I can increase the lag way more than what I'm used to, that's what I'm doing currently. So the lag is correct, but I think I can do it a lot better than that. And so I will generate way more power. And also I will feel more comfortable. You can see here that I started losing the focus on getting a good backswing. Yeah, because I think I got tired of having a bad rhythm, so I wanted to come back to a good rhythm. Let's come back just a second. Yeah, I'm a little bit more rotated, but as I said, there is too much stuff that are coming over the top that I'm. If I'm just rotating, the ball is going to be to go 100 meters to the right. So unless I'm able to do the right thing before, I will not be able to rotate correctly through impact. Yeah, on this one, I don't want to talk about it. Are we talking about it? 1 hour and a half? Natural face rotation. First rotation as a reaction of that. What the fuck am I? Ah, yes. I wanted to drop the club, rotate the wrist, and then having the rotation being a consequence of me rotating my wrist. So that was my hypothesis. And you know what? Let's move on to the driver, because this is the driver that we want to see. Oh, let's just check that. You can see my hip doesn't rotate at all. I'm able to bring my arm way back in front, but actually, and to rotate my wrist, but that's all. I mean, my lower body doesn't do anything. So I don't get the rotation I want. Really, I was trying to have my arm as much as in front as possible, with my wrist as much rotated as possible. So because my hypothesis was, if truly I have some forward shaft lean at impact, I am going to be forced to rotate in order to not miss the ball left. So I actually did miss some ball left, but I don't think that was a good answer actually. But still, that creates tremendous amount of lag and so on. So that looks good on the picture, but that's not dynamically viable. Actually, that look good here, but then at impact we see I'm not rotating anymore for since a very long time. Yeah, just to have fun, a little bit of long drive swing. Boom. Anyway, let's move on to more serious stuff. So yes, but the issue here is really my club doesn't come enough from the inside, and so I'm forced to stop my lower body, because if I don't, the ball is going to go right. What is that? And also, yes, there is also this idea of me getting out of my posture and so on. I don't know, is that the last session? Yes, that's the last session. Also, there is something I notice. You can see here my right thumb, during the takeaway, I take it off the club, then I put it back, and I start looking at it a little bit closer, and actually I start doing it on every single one of my shots. So this is something I need to look for, because before it start becoming a big tick, a big spas. So backswing look good, except that I'm getting out of my posture and so on. Then you can see I'm bringing my club down, and the club face is open, so I'm forced to stop in order to catch up. So hypothesis failed. So yes, anyway. So I mean, the lag position look awesome, but as I say, I'm not doing it the right way. No, I'm not. Ah. Also, I don't like the fact that I'm forced to do it very slowly. Okay, so here we go. Here we go. After 1 hour and a half, 15 session, we did it, everybody. We did it. So just, I want to see something just before we quit, because I did one more session, and I want to know. Yeah, because I don't want to finish because I start thinking about a lot of stuff. Okay, so just come back just a little bit. So I start thinking, okay, one thing that prevent me from, first of all, so I'm start giving you insight of what I realized, because I already did a session for the month of September. Yeah? So, and I start thinking about some stuff. So what I'm going to work on during this month of September is going to have my lower body that is shifting way faster, immediately almost, during the backswing. So I'm starting the backswing, and actually I found out that doing a little bit of right shift, then using this momentum to then set the club as you shift to the left is good. But also what I want to do is then, I saw that actually, to maintain the lag, I need to, as you see, my hand are moving a lot to the left, and so this is what is going to release the lag. So I need to have my hands that are moving way more down actually, and not to the left of my body, but actually down and forward. So I'm going to shift a little bit right, then left, set the club, and I'm going to continue to shift left and try to have actually my hands that are coming down and forward in order to maintain the lag longer. And then and yeah, this is that. But what I found in the session I'm talking about is actually, I'm not doing that great because I'm pushing with my right leg, and that's what lead me to think, okay, maybe I need just to collapse my right leg in order to shift my weight to the left that I'm already trying to shift during my entire backswing. So I'm resisting with my right leg during and I'm pulling with my left in order to initiate the weight shift transition to the left during my backswing. Then during the downswing, I'm collapsing my right side in order to have the weight shift that naturally come over to the left side and allow me to have my arm drop without me doing anything and stay a little bit behind the ball, so then I can rotate aggressively. So this is what I'm going to look for, and I'm going to do during this month, having a more natural motion, and also really focusing on a lower a downswing where I try to involve as less as I possibly can my upper body and where I try only to use my lower body as the main motion of the downswing. So basically I'm shifting right a little bit, then left, setting the club with my shoulders, then shifting, continuing to shift my weight to the left by collapsing my right leg to really put me into a squat down position, but still having my upper body that stay quiet. So this is not a motion, this is really a collapse. I'm not doing anything, I'm just relaxing. So this is good also, this is a transition that is more relaxed rather than tension. And so using that, having my arm drop naturally, then I'm going to rotate towards the target and so on. So yeah, that's what I'm going to try to do during this month. And hopefully I can get this done. So I'm happy. I didn't fuck up this one. We are starting the month. We have some plan and we are going to get it. Ready? Let's go. So see you. And also there is I don't know if I will post this video first or my video about the last golf course I did, but yes, thanks you for watching. If you did, you are very courageous, and see you next time.